Going to see some very important questions in this side, which is first identify the 5 management controls which should be considered for the control of risk created by temporary work. So what all 5 management controls you will be applying or you will put into your consideration for the risk which is generated by the temporary works which is going on in your organization. So we have already discussed about this. The risk assessment must be properly made. There should be competitive work, there should be proper segregation, there must be proper welfare facilities and the proper review and all. So all this will be emergency procedures, all this will be implemented here. The second topic question, define SSW, very important, safe system of work. There is a definition in your textbook also. So it is a formal procedure which is based on a systematic examination of work in order to identify the hazards. So it is known as a formal procedures which are used to find out the hazards by making a systematic examination of work which you are going to do. For example, you can say a PTW, which is a very good example of safe system of work. PTW systems are there in companies. So this is the purpose. So third, what is the importance of discussing with workers when developing SSW? So when you develop a safe system of work, why it is considered to be important to discuss with the worker? Why? Because the first thing is it will be considered as a consultation, because we have discussed before what is consultation. So two-way communication will be there, so good. And similarly, it will be a practical way, because if they are directly working on the site, so it is always practical to discuss the people along with them. Similarly, you can say it is a part of a legal records also. It is always good to make a legal records. Similarly, your people will feel the ownership. They will feel like they are also involved into all the matters. It will increase the moral value of your people. Similarly, without hesitation, people will be always trying to follow the health and safety procedures, the rules, because they are also involved directly. Fourth, explain the importance of written procedures, very important, the legal issues for the future purpose or the documentation purpose, you can write. Fifth, explain the technical, procedural and behavioral controls. So technical control means where you will be directly applying the technical methods or engineering methods to control the hazard. For example, excavation is going to start, you can barricade the area, so you will be using some technical or engineering controls there. Procedural controls means you will be using the procedures which has to be followed in the work. For example, if you are going to do the substation works for the electrical panels and also obviously you will be going to you will be isolating the equipments, you will be de-energizing the capacitors. So that is a procedural work. What is behavioral control? Behavioral control means how you will be changing the behavioral aspects of the individuals and controlling it. Like for example, the good housekeeping, the PP. So all will be under behavioral control. Sixth, explain PEME. PEME, which we have already discussed. PEME is like the persons, the equipments, materials and the environment. And you have to explain about that. The first question is identify the factors which are to be considered when developing a safe system of work. When you develop a safe system of work, what all factors you will be considering? The first is like there are many factors you have to consider, like what task is being undertaken, what type of task you are going to do. You have to make the task analysis and you have to follow the principle of SREDA, which we have discussed. Then what equipment and materials will be required for the task. You have to check who will be carrying out the work, whether the person is competent or not, any young persons, vulnerable persons are there. Similarly, what is the hazards which is related with each job. You have to consider emergency provisions, manufacturer recommendations, what are there, how you will be going to monitor the work and what all control measures are there. So all these factors you have to consider. The second question is explain the factors to be considered when developing a safe system of confined space. So it is considered. So this same like the hazards which you will see in a confined space. I have already discussed about it in a separate video, the 10 hazards of a common 10 hazards of a confined space. You can see it. But apart from this, I will just give you a small description, like it will be related to fire, explosion, the lack of consciousness inside when you go inside, the presence of fire, the toxic gases, similarly the drowning, similarly engulfment, the water inside slip and trip hazards, the temperature, the noise of some other machines. So all these are the examples of the factors which you have to consider when developing a safe system work for the confined space. Then third, what is a safe system work for confined space? So what is the best way to make a safe system of work for a confined space is like you have to provide proper level of supervision, check-in, check-out registers, proper training for the attendant and entrants who are going inside. Competent people must be there, removal of residues inside, proper lighting, slip-tip hazards must be removed, gas testing, isolation of all the electrical mechanical hazards, isolation and lock off of all the pipes, like anything is there. Similarly, you have to emergency rescue plans, etc. All these factors you have to be considered when you check for the arrangement for the confined space. Now the fourth one is, what are the factors to be considered for the arrangement for the traveling abroad? If your people are traveling abroad for the work purpose, what all factors will be considered? So under this situation, you have to consider the following factors for the arrangements of the people who are going, who are traveling abroad. Is you have to check for the pre and post visit feedbacks. You have to get them all the details before they go, the conditions after they come. All the informations must be arranged. You have to check for the insurance, the personal health advice, vaccinations. You know, like the current situation about the vaccinations of the coronavirus, which you have to take while before. The test for the coronavirus have to be conducted before you go to any country. So similarly, security, personal trainings, similarly accommodations, how they will be traveling in the outside country, emergency arrangements, and 24-hour organization contact number must be provided. So these are the factors to be considered when they travel abroad. In all aspects, and you can definitely expect any one question from this segment. They always used to ask me what is PTW, define PTW. PTW holder is an additional question which I have given to you to make you understand what exactly is PTW holder. So PTW mainly all of you people knows, but still I will explain to you what is PTW. PTW is a formal documented safety procedure which will be forming a part of safe system of work and which ensure that all necessary actions are taken before and during or after the high risk work. So in an industry, it is a document which controls all the activities of a work. It will identify all the hazards and it makes sure that all the control measures are taken for this work to happen in the site. So what is PTW holder? Is the person who is given permit or who have the PTW, who have the rights to take the PTW is PTW holder. All the persons in your site can't take the PTW holder. There is a separate exam, they have to pass it and they will be awarded the PTW card and they will be approved to open the permits and close the permits. So the next question, we explain the four main parts of PTW. Very important, four main parts which you can expect. You have to write is issue, receipt, clearance and cancellation. Apart from this, sometimes extension is also there. So in these four main parts, the first one is issuing. What is issuing means? It shows the piece of the paper, it shows the description of the work, the date, time, the hazards, what are the control measures you will be taking, the signature of the authorized person who is issuing. For example, if you are in subcontracting company, so your contractor, the people from the client side who is issuing the permit, he is coming under the issuing authority. Then the receipt, it will be signed by your PTW holder or your people, your competent person who will accept the permit. Clearance, after finishing all the work, the competent persons will put the signature that all the area is made safe, all the control measures are kept in the place. And cancellation is this authorized person will cancel the permit saying that area is received back from the competent person and all the machines are restored. Sometimes extension happens when the work is more or work is left, the extensions will be applied, but for the extension again the permit holder have to reach back to the issuing authority, he have to get his signature. So it is very safe type of system which you can see. So what are the examples of typical permit systems and precautions what you will take? So you have to give the examples of the normal permit systems. Examples of a typical permit systems will be a confined space. Already we have checked what all the precautions we have to take while entering into the confined space. Then the next one is hot work. if you are doing any welding or welding activities, exactly it comes under the hot work. So in that case, you have to make sure that flammable materials are removed, floor is kept is properly swept clean, is damped. Similarly, fire extinguisher water hoses are available. Similarly, fire watcher is available in the area. Gas testing must be done. So all these are the precautions. Similarly, electrical systems where all electrical precautions must be taken. All the PPs, rubber mats on the ground must be applied. Similarly, it should be properly barricaded. All this will be taken as the precautions. Then the third is, you can say, the machinery maintenance, where the isolation has to be done. Lotto you can be applied. Similarly, de-energizing of the capacitors, the charge parts are there. Then the work at height, where the safety harness, safety belts, everything, the safety net has to be provided. So these are all the precautions and the examples for the typical permit systems. We will be going to see important topic, emergency procedures and first aid. So we can expect some couple number of good questions from this topic. So we will be first seeing what questions you can expect in emergency procedures. So the first is like identify the emergency situations which require emergency response plan and why. So there are many situations, like you can say the fire, the bomb threat, spillage of chemicals, the flood, multiple casualty accidents, disease spreading, the weather, harsh weather, flooding, all are the different situations. And why? Obviously because the emergency response plan is required very much to prevent, to save the PEME, you can say. Similarly to save in that cost to company after which can come after the emergency situations or critical situations. Similarly, it will boost the morale of the people because it will be useful, helpful. People will feel comfortable if some plans are there, they know what to do. So all this you can write for this question. The second, explain the necessary emergency procedures to be followed. So in a company like what are necessary emergency procedures you can follow? It is very good question. You have to first know what procedure to be followed. For example, your people must know what to do. For example, if a fire is happening, your people must leave the premises. They must assemble to the assembly point, inform the fire station. But what will happen if bomb threat is there? Then in that case they don't need to go out, they have to hide inside the building. So both procedures are different. So people must know what to do. Similarly, provision of suitable equipments must be provided. For example, if a chemical spillage is there, spill kit must be there to arrest the spill. Similarly, on the other side, case of gas leakage, air respirators must be provided. So both are like a different provision of proper equipment must be provided. Nomination of responsible staff must be there, what to do, who must know what to do in case of an emergency situation. For example, if a fire happening, the fire watchers, the marshals, fire wardens must be provided, who can take care of the situation, who can take the head count of the people. Dealing with the media, how to deal with the media. You can't say any shit to the media, right? You have to explain them accordingly, otherwise it will spoil your company image. So all training must be given to people. There must be separate people who can speak to media and they know what to speak. Arrangement for contacting an emergency service. There must be proper services must be there. Just imagine a situation, emergency happened and you don't have the proper phone connections, equipments, landline, satellite phones, nothing is there. You don't have the contact details, whom to contact if your people doesn't have. Similarly, you don't know who is the responsible people for this situation. So like this, you have to make sure all these procedures are followed. Purpose, what are the purpose of first aid? Very important question. First aid, 3P you have to remember, and you can write the question, the answer for this question: to preserve the life, to prevent deterioration, and to promote the recovery. Always you have to understand the meaning and you have to write, because every time sometimes it happens people will interchange, like they used to write preserve deterioration, prevent life. No, you have to write in a proper way, like to preserve life means to save the life, to prevent deterioration, to prevent someone from getting die. Similarly, to promote recovery. These are the 3 P's. Now explain the factors to be considered while giving first aid facility in a workplace? Very important question. You can say like general risk level, hazards, the qualification, the training of the people, the previous accident histories. You can say what all procedures are required in the workplace. You can say who all persons are there, vulnerable young persons are there, work pattern, the shift, what time people are working, geographic locations there. Apart from this, in first aid you can get some other questions also, like you can prepare what are the contents of first aid box you can expect. Similarly, you can expect another question, what other emergency equipment must be provided apart from first aid. So you can say apart from first aid you must be provided with eye wash stations, emergency showers, similarly the fire blankets, the springs for bone support, structures, wheelchairs, etc.